Imagine raising your glass to toast the happiest day of your life, only to realize someone is trying to destroy it. I was standing in front of everyone I loved at my wedding reception, smiling, nervous, but full of joy. The music was soft, laughter filled the air, and I could barely believe this was real. The woman who'd never quite accepted me as part of her family, my mother-in-law, was sitting just a few seats away. I always felt her eyes on me, judging, analyzing, finding flaws that didn't exist. I told myself that tonight, of all nights, I'd let it go. It was supposed to be perfect. But perfection is fragile. When I raised my champagne glass to begin the toast, I saw something that made my blood run cold. My mother-in-law leaned ever so slightly over my glass, pretending to adjust her napkin, her hand moving with a flicker that didn't match her usual grace. A tiny motion, a subtle drop of something from her fingers, disappearing into my drink. I froze. My heart pounded in my chest, and for a moment I wondered if I was imagining things. Maybe she dropped a piece of lint, or maybe my nerves were getting to me. But something inside me screamed that this was no accident. The guests clinked glasses and began to settle, expecting my speech. My throat tightened, and I forced a smile. While everyone looked toward me, I made a quiet, decisive move. I picked up her glass instead of mine. No one noticed. My fingers were trembling, but I held it together. I handed my old glass toward her side, setting it right in front of her as if it was hers all along. Then I began to speak. I don't remember what I said. My mouth moved automatically, delivering the practiced words about love, gratitude, and family. But inside, I was on fire. My stomach churned with fear and disbelief. Why would she do that? Was it jealousy? Control? I could barely hear the applause that followed the toast. My mind was racing. 30 minutes later, I had my answer. It started with a cough. A small one, delicate at first. Then another. My mother-in-law's face turned pale, and her hand went to her throat. Her husband leaned over, asking if she was okay. She waved him off, her face tightening, eyes darting around. Within minutes, her discomfort became visible to everyone. She was sweating, breathing unevenly, and I saw the panic bloom behind her eyes. The music slowed, the laughter stopped, and the guests began whispering. Someone called for help. I stood there, frozen in a mix of horror and vindication. I didn't know what she had put in that glass, but whatever it was, she had just drunk it herself. Paramedics arrived, people cleared a space, and chaos unfolded. I held my husband's hand as he shouted for calm. I stayed silent, trembling but outwardly calm, playing the role of the shocked bride. Inside, I felt a storm, anger, confusion, and something darker. She had planned something evil for me on my wedding night. And karma came faster than anyone could imagine. Hours later, after the commotion died down, I sat in the bridal suite staring at the untouched bouquet in my hands. My husband came in, face pale, shaken. He said she was going to be okay, that doctors suspected she'd had an allergic reaction to something. He didn't know, and I didn't tell him. I nodded and said I was relieved, but my heart was thudding with the weight of what I'd witnessed. In the following days, whispers spread among the guests. People were confused, curious, but no one suspected the truth. My mother-in-law avoided me. Her usual sharpness dulled, her arrogance subdued. I watched her carefully in the days after the wedding, looking for guilt in her eyes. And I found it. The way she couldn't meet my gaze, the way her hands trembled when she spoke, it told me everything. It would have been easy to expose her, to tell everyone what I saw. But instead, I let silence do the talking. I wanted her to live with the fear that I knew. To wonder if I'd ever speak up. That, I realized, was the sweetest form of revenge, not shouting the truth, but letting it hang silently over her head. Every time she saw me, she'd see the reflection of her own act. Every time she smiled, she'd know I knew it was fake. Months passed, and her health remained fragile. She became oddly polite toward me, trying to rebuild something that never really existed. I accepted her gestures, but deep down, the balance had already shifted. The power she once held over me, the manipulation, the judgment, it was gone. She could never look at me the same way again. I often replay that moment in my mind. The flicker of her hand, the quiet switch, the way fate turned itself around in seconds. It felt like the universe intervened, giving me justice without me even asking for it. I didn't poison her. I didn't harm her. She did it to herself. And somehow, that truth was more powerful than anything I could have planned. On the surface, I forgave her. I even smiled during family gatherings, played the role of the understanding daughter-in-law. But deep inside, I carried a silent truth, a reminder that sometimes evil plans collapse on themselves. That karma doesn't always need help. If you've ever had someone try to hurt you, to twist your happiness into pain, just remember, what's meant for you won't miss you, and what's meant to harm you often finds its way back to the sender. If this story gave you chills, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real-life stories where karma strikes back harder than anyone expects.